Hello, arcade gamers, and welcome back to Biggie D's Arcade. Tonight we're doing Sunday Chill and Chat like we do every week with the home arcade community, talking home arcade news, just hanging out, having a good time. Hope everyone's having a good evening tonight. Wish I Was a Rock Star was the first one in the chat today saying excited for the show, Biggie. He says best channel for news and deals. Awesome to hear. Yeah, I always want to put an emphasis on the deals. That is one thing I think that this channel does a little differently than a lot of the other home arcade channels is we're always looking for deals. We're always trying to save money. We don't want to be those people that come out right out the gate, buy the first thing, day one, paying, $500-600. We want to get these arcades at $300-350. That's the price range we're looking for on this channel. JJ's here saying home arcade should strive to make less expensive hardware, just like what I was saying, like we want to spend less. He's looking for less expensive hardware unless they're making something premium, probably like what Glenn is doing with his arcade, right? The Build-A-Cade FU. That would be considered a premium multi-cade. That would deserve that higher price point. And then like an experience with a V-Pin, like the AtGames 4KP, that's at that price point. But everything else, we need to get that price lower is what he's saying. If a home arcade cabinet costs more than a PS5 or an Xbox Series X, that's going to be a non-starter for JJ. He also says if he found $550, $600, $750 in a brown bag, he's going to buy a PS5 Pro or an Xbox Series X or a Switch 2 with extra games. He's not getting a fighting cab or a Basic Fun or any of that at that price range. So good points. I'm glad you shared all that. Interesting to see that. I mean, I agree with you on the PS5. Like I would want to have my PS5 first before I buy a home arcade at that price point. I feel like that would be used more. It also has a lot more games, a lot more replay value, I think. So yeah, definitely I put priority on the PlayStation 5. Switch 2, not for me yet. I was hoping Black Friday we'd get a Switch 2 at a decent price point. It doesn't look like that's happening. So it'll be next year probably this time by the time I'm looking for a Switch 2. I'm still having a really good time with the Switch 1. The games are starting to be really inexpensive now. I can actually play all the Switch games that I've missed out on over the last few years. So I've got plenty of fun to have with the Switch 1 right now, I feel. Mike Cockhurt says, I hope everyone had a nice weekend. Yes, I had a great weekend. Towards the end of the show, we'll talk about that. I've been trying to get out, now that the weather's good, outside of the city into the wilderness every Saturday. And this was not an exception this weekend. So I'll share that with you guys here at the end. End of the line 4460 says, hey, Biggie D in chat. Good to see End of the Line. And MSU Rich is here as well saying, hey, Biggie. And JJ saying hi. Good to see everyone. Glad everyone's making it. Don't know if there's any other streams tonight, so this might be the only home arcade stream on YouTube tonight. So I hope you guys are tuning in, having a good time. We've got a lot to talk about, I feel. A lot of slow news I heard on the channels this week, but I think there's still plenty to talk about. Fireside Arcade's here saying greetings. Always enjoy your streams. Always great to see Fireside in the arcade. Been seeing him in my channel, watching this live stream for a long time. So great to see you in the chat, being active there. So let's start. And we're going to be doing the same format we've done the last couple weeks, where kind of frees up my Sunday. Like I watched the Dallas Cowboys today beat the Philadelphia Eagles, which was absolutely amazing to watch. I did not expect that to happen. I did not expect the Cowboys to come out and win today. But Dak's been playing much better, and it's great to see after all these years, pretty much giving up on Dak Prescott, that he has now made that turn where I feel like he's actually a pretty consistent QB very late in his career. Pulled off 2 really good games the last couple of weeks. So go Cowboys. And I know my friend, Buddy, he texted me earlier, said the Bears won. He's a big Bears fan. I know they've been winning too. But let's take a look at the news. Let's start here. We're going to go to the news section of athomearcades.com. This is your #1 source for home arcade news, like outside of YouTube. I mean, let me kind of set the scene for this. There's a few places that you can really get your news when it comes to home arcade. It's going to be Reddit, your Facebook groups, YouTube, but also I think this At Home Arcades could be a good source as well, because I'm going to be keeping up with this every single day. Rather than putting it into a notepad and talking about it on Sunday, I'm just putting it on the website. That way I don't have to go looking for stuff on Sunday. It's all here ready to go for us to talk about. And then you guys can keep up throughout the week on what's going on. You don't have to wait till Sunday. So the first thing that we're going to look at here is going to be the 17th. I'd put a few posts on the 17th. We got to give credit where credit is due. Michael B., the Game Genie, had photographed this here for us and put a side-by-side comparison of the Terminator 2 cabinet and the new Atari Return of the Jedi Basic Fun Ultra Series arcade, and we can see that it's quite a bit shorter than the T2. Now the T2 is like the tallest, I would say, deluxe or 3/4 scale arcade one up that they made. Maybe that Time Crisis might have been a tad bit taller, but T2 is right up there as one of the tallest arcade one-ups. So you can see it here next to this Return of the Jedi. And I definitely think, if you're going to get one of these, you're going to definitely have to get a booster or a riser for it. No doubt about it. Like, I'm 6'4". I feel like I could get the standard arcade one-up riser. And if this thing would fit in that would be perfect for me for height. Now, a lot of people are probably going to need like a little shorter than the standard riser size. So maybe going to go for a booster. But you're most definitely, I think, going to need one. Everything else looks really good. Like the yoke controls look great. The marquee looked really good in everything that I saw last week. The #1 complaint is going to be that screen. The screen definitely is having an issue because they went with a TN monitor. So they skipped out on the more expensive BOE monitor to save cost, cut cost, it looks like. I don't think we yet have like a firm word on whether or not the unit that Michael B. received, which was that review unit, was just the one that had the TN, or are they all going to have the TN monitor? I mean, you're going to lean, they're all going to have it, right? Because it likely not that review unit's going to be any different from the actual product that gets shipped. But it could, like, there's that slight possibility. And I don't think we've eliminated that as like a possibility that the actual units that ship to customers could have a BOE. I haven't heard anything yet. But I did hear this week that Walmart has the listing for the new Basic Fun Ultra Series Star Wars cabinet. So let's take a look at that here and see that listing. I'm just searching for it here online to see if I can find it in a search. You know, Walmart, Basic Fun, Ultra Series, Star Wars. Can I find it in a Google search today? And let's see, it's not looking like it's easy to find yet. So what I'm doing here is I'm just searching Walmart, Basic Fun, Ultra Series, Star Wars. I'm not finding it yet, so I don't think Google has indexed the new Walmart listing yet. Sorry about that, guys. So there is an indexing that has to happen for Google for us to be able to search for it. So let me bring up the actual post here that NeoHyper64 put out on this. And I think it's on the Reddit page. So let's see here. Yep, it is. It's on the Reddit page. So if we go here, NeoHyper64, he does that Thursday Arcade Insiders live stream every Thursday now. Really good source for home arcade news. Like as soon as it comes out, he's on top of it now. But he's got the listing here saying that now it is available for Walmart. So let's click on that listing. And for me in my area, it's not showing that it's yet available. Like I can't pre-order it. I can't add it to cart. So are they going to make that Black Friday window? Like, am I actually going to, if I wanted to buy this arcade, am I actually going to be able to buy it this upcoming week? I don't know yet. There is a listing now and I can search for it, but I'm not finding it on a Google search. If I go to Reddit and I click on NeoHyper's link, I do see the listing, but I don't see the ability to pay for it or buy it. So I can't tell you guys yet if it's available or not, but it looks like they're preparing for it. The listings are starting to show up. And I think I did come across today that Target has a landing page for it as well. So hopefully here in the next few days, you guys will be able to buy it and maybe get it before Christmas. We'll see. Devastator Omega says, how about them Cowboys? Yes, absolutely. Cowboys won today. Could not believe it. Was totally surprised. I have little faith in the Cowboys winning or doing well this season, but they surprised me today. They look like they could actually compete and potentially, you never know, win the division, but we'll see. I mean, Eagles, I think, are still the better football team, but we did beat them today, so who knows? Nozapalooza says, thought it was Target. So Target has a listing as well that I looked up and I found earlier. Let me see if I can find it today. Basic Fun, Ultra Series, Arcade Classics at Target. Not finding it on a Google search. So let me go to target.com and I'll search that same thing. Basic Fun, Star Wars. And still not coming up. So let me show you guys. You know, putting in Basic Fun Star Wars, I'm not finding it. Let's try Arcade Classics. Still, oh, there it is. There it is, guys. Boom. All right, $5.49. So that's $50 less than what I thought it was going to be. I thought this was $5.99. They're doing $5.49. I don't know if that's like a Black Friday deal they're doing this upcoming week, or is that going to be MSRP? Could we expect something lower on Friday? I don't know. No reviews yet. Looks like I can't add it to cart right now. So it looks like I could pay for it right now. And it would arrive on Wednesday, November 26th. So I could have it Friday. No, Wednesday, I'm sorry. So I could have it Wednesday. Unboxing it, doing a video with you guys if I had $550, or if I do have it, but would I want to spend $550 on this? I don't think so. I was a little bit happy with, you know, the fact that I could get Star Wars for a third time, because I missed out on the first arcade one-up Star Wars. I missed out on the remake that they did that had the light up, you know, buttons for the coin door, and just, you know, was their re-release of that arcade one-up. I missed on that one. So this would be my third opportunity to get it. And I think if everything checked out, you know, and like it had that screen that I really wanted, then maybe I'd be in the market for one of these at the right price. I'm not going to pay $550 for it, but if I could get it, for $450, $400, I may be interested. So this is it. It's got 3 Star Wars games. You're going to get Star Wars 1, you're going to get Empire Strikes Back, and then, of course, Return of the Jedi, the color version. So there it is, guys. If you want to get it, you can get it now on Target, but not on Walmart that I'm finding. And Thumper Squid's here saying, hello, wonderful gamers. Great to see Thumper Squid in the chat hanging out with us tonight. Hope you're having a good night. Fireside Arcade says, enjoyed a few rounds earlier today with my OG 1-Up Star Wars cab, Chef's Kiss with Glenn Joke. Yeah, I bet, having all this news with the new Return of the Jedi coming out, it probably is getting people back into playing their original Star Wars they got at Arcade 1-Up. Just because it's always fun to play an arcade or a game that everyone else is playing or talking about at the same time. Just makes you feel like you're a part of a bigger community when, everyone's playing the same game or focused on the same, arcade game at the same time. Mike Hawkhurt says MK Deluxe will be $389. That would be good. I think I've seen that MK Deluxe as low as $350. Not seen it get down to $299. But that's one that's on my radar this year. If the right price comes around and an MK Deluxe was, $350, I may pull the trigger. That's one cabinet I'm missing that I've always wanted. There's really 2 cabinets that I've always wanted that I've missed on, but just because I couldn't find the right deal or the timing wasn't right. And that's going to be the Mortal Kombat and the Street Fighter. So either one of those, I'm always going to be interested in finding one. He also says the Atari Game Station is $129 and Sonic Mighty Player at 50% off at $49, all at BJ's starting Black Friday. Those are all great prices. I'm really interested in that MK Deluxe, though. What's going to happen with that this year, being that Arcade 1-Ups really wanting to keep their prices right around MSRP, not really wanting to get those or allow opportunities for retailers to drop those prices. It seems like they're trying to prevent that. So we'll see what happens this year. Hopefully we get some good deals. Papa Brad's Gaming, a member of the channel, always a big supporter of Biggie D's Arcade, says a 2026 Star Wars home arcade should play Battle Pod and Star Wars Trilogy at the least. And I'm glad you brought that up because that really kind of hints at our poll that we're doing tonight. And it says, what do home arcade companies need to do different or differently? Like, there's obviously always room for improvement. And whether you're happy with the home arcades that you have or you're unhappy with them, you wish they would make differences to improve them, there's always something that they can fix or make better. And what do you feel like they should do different? Should they advance the hardware and make that better? Like, do you feel like the arcade games we're getting are limited to like the 90s or the 80s or early 2000s because we're not going to have enough power behind that chipset or whatever they're putting in the the board? Is that not powerful enough to run the games you really want to see? Which that's, Battle Pod or Star Wars Trilogy. To ever get those kind of titles, we're going to need a more powerful PCB or board to run those. So is that your choice for what, if you could choose one thing they could do differently and do better? Would it be advancing the hardware? Would it be making the cabinets larger, like XL size or full size? Improving the online multiplayer, like the Marvel versus Capcom 2 behind me. Biggest thing about that was the online wasn't ready and it was never really up to par with what people thought it was going to be. Is that an improvement they need to focus on? Or is it the controls? Do you feel like you're always, swapping out your controls, you're always replacing them because you're just not happy with what you're getting right out the box? Or do you not care about the controls? Like you like replacing those and that's not an issue. So you guys can vote on any of these. They only allow 4 options, so I can't say all of them as a 5th option, but you could always say, I wish they would improve all these. But right now it looks like making the cabinet larger is winning with 21 votes. So that's a simple, I think, fix or improvement that companies can make, is just to make their cabinets larger. Of course, there are the logistics issues with having to ship these and having to put them in retail, things like that. But outside of that, they could keep the same hardware, they could keep the same online platform, same controls, just make the cabinet larger. And majority of the audience is going to be wanting that. Now, Papa Brad's Gaming says it is not that hard to make them work with a Star Wars yoke setup. Yeah, I've seen your multicade and how you've set yours up, your arcade one up Star Wars, and you've been able to do it all with that cabinet just by improving the controls and the internals, of course, putting them more like a PC or something that can run those games in there. Devastator Omega says same MK Deluxe at $350 would be a buy for Devastator. So there's buyers out there for some of these cabinets they've been waiting on that they just were never able to get. But if you get the right price, they're ready. And that's where I'm at on MK. Especially with that MK, Legacy Collection doing so poorly or having such a poor reception and, all the issues with that. It seems like it makes the Arcade 1-Up MK look a little bit better because they've actually done a pretty good job with the online on MK, I feel like. Mike Hawkert says, any chance we will get some Star Wars tables on the 4KP before the end of the year? I don't think so. I don't know what the heck has happened with Star Wars and AtGames, but they're having some issue, I guess, with Disney because they don't have Marvel. They don't have Star Wars. But it also, look at Zen Studios. They're not making new Marvel and they're not making new Star Wars tables. So maybe that's got something to do with it. It's more of Zen than it is AtGames not being able to get those. I don't know. I really don't know the story behind that, other than I know they screwed it up a year ago and accidentally, announced and leaked that there was going to be a Tomb Raider pinball before it actually came, or before Zen wanted that out there. No Star Wars without a larger user base. Hope Turtles does well if you want a Star Wars. Papa Brad also says it is the cost involved in the IP needs to make sense for Zen to do it. All right. So let's get back to, we got the Return of the Jedi. We've got the size difference between the two. Definitely going to need a booster. Definitely going to need a riser for that cabinet. No doubt about it. But thank you, Michael B., for posting the photo and sharing that with us so we could see the size difference. So this was kind of cool. I'm always looking at new bars, new pinball spots around the area to go check out. Maybe new spots to go see, pinball tables I've never seen before, or just a great place to hang out and play pinball. I'd come across this. There is a place called Night Owl. My friend actually sent this to me because he lives in Scottsdale, and he goes to this Night Owl pizza and pinball place in Scottsdale. Looks like they're going to be opening one in Tempe as well, which is about the same distance from me, so not any closer, but nice to see they're expanding. And we've got a new location. And I thought their setup is really cool, how it's like, it just feels a little more homey, more like a personal game room than like a big bar setting. I feel like it's kind of more exclusive, and you've got a little more privacy to go play pinball in this room that they've got set up. So I like what they're doing here. And I hope we get one on the west side of town, because we don't have one. We've got Scottsdale, Tempe. We need one here on the west side. But just wanted to share that with you guys. I know a lot of you guys aren't in the area, but if you guys ever come to Phoenix and you're looking to check out, a place to go play arcades or pinball, it's always good to, stay on top of that and share that with you guys. Now, this is the November Pinball Tournament poll. I posted this on the 17th, so it's been out for 6 days now, and I actually checked right before the stream, and we've got a really good turnout on the poll this month for November. Looks like we're getting lots of votes, which is what we want to see. Hopefully we're going to get more people into the tournament this week than we have in the last couple of months. Continue to grow it. But here is the actual poll itself live. We got 45 votes, guys. And what Pinball FX table should we pick for November pinball tournament? And if you guys were able to check out my live stream of Zen Studios Pinball FX this week, I played these 4 tables. So if you guys don't know which tables to choose, or you just want to get a little gameplay and see what that looks like before you vote, go check out that live stream and you'll be able to see all 4 of these tables, like at least 3 games each of all 4 of them. But right now, Scared Stiff is winning at 40%. And Scared Stiff has actually led for this entire poll. But what I'm noticing is Xena, Warrior Princess, is creeping up on Scared Stiff. It's only 4% behind now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to let this play out for one more day tonight. And then tomorrow morning, I'm going to go ahead and pick the table. And we'll see tomorrow when I check it, has Xena passed Scared Stiff? And if it has, we'll choose that table. If not, we'll go with Scared Stiff, which will be a good one. But I think either one would be great. You know, hopefully we'll get to play Xena next month in December if we don't get to this month. But we'll see what happens with that poll. There's still votes that probably haven't been made yet, where people have seen the poll and they haven't voted yet. So go ahead and get out there, let your voice be heard, and let's pick a good table for this month. And what I'll do is I'll close that poll tomorrow, and then I'll get the actual tournament started. And I think I'll do what I did last month. We'll do a 4-day tournament. I think drawing it out any farther than the 4 days is a little difficult because there's only 10 attempts. So you don't want to draw it out too long because then people are just sitting waiting to see who wins. So we'll do a 4-day and we'll do 10 attempts on whatever table we choose here or wins that poll. All right, so I'm looking forward to that coming up. And we've got some chats here coming through. Steps Gaming is here saying, good evening. Awesome to see Steps. Great to see you. I'm glad you made it. I know you were at a hockey game this week. I saw you at a Pittsburgh Penguins hockey game. You'll have to let us know how that went. Papa Breads Gaming says, I love the Alien pinball games as well as what Zen did. You can always OTG games to AtGames pinball cabs. I prefer the native though. Yeah, without having to do OTG is so much quicker, right? To just jump into a game when it's right there on the machine. You don't have to hook a PC up to it. So understand that. Devastator says, Xena and Elvira are both good. Yeah, these are all AAA pinball tables. I have a lot of fun with all of them. So any one of these would be good choices. Tony C says, Elvira has 2 tables, 2 Haunted Hills. So right now, we've got Scared Stiff winning. I think that's the more popular of the 2, only because it's easier to play, higher scoring, a lot of fun to play. So definitely could see why it's winning out of the 2 Elviras. And then Mike Hawkert says, Xena is one of a handful of tables I've never played despite owning a 4KP. So that's good. You've not played it because it's a great table. I definitely encourage you to go check it out. And if you haven't bought it, this is a great week to get it because it's on sale. So let's check that out. And that's kind of the reason I threw that one in there is I've been playing it and I always kind of like focusing on the ones that are a deal this week or that week and we can save some money on. So let's take a look here at Pinball FX on Steam and let's see what's going on here. Because there is a Black Friday sale coming for Zen Studios here this week. It has not started yet. But if you're looking for a deal, one that I highly recommend, it's going to be this Universal Pinball TV Classics pack. It's going to have Xena in there as well. You also get the Knight Rider, and then you're going to get the third table, which is this Battlestar Galactica pinball. So it's normally $15. You're going to be able to get it for $5.99 right now. I feel like that's a killer deal. You're getting 60% off. You know, you can go get it. This is going to end in 15 hours. So imagine that the Steam Black Friday sale that they're promoting right now will start in 15 hours from now. So let's take a look at that because they have been promoting it, and I do want to mention it. They haven't said what the actual deals will be yet, but they have said that there is a Black Friday going on. So this is what they put out there. They're saying it looks like tables are going to be 60% off. But right now, only thing that's on 60% off is going to be the Universal Pinball TV Classics, Williams Pinball Volume 1, and Snoopy Pinball. Those are the only ones. But I imagine that, here in 15 hours, starting next week, everything's probably going to be on some type of discount for Black Friday, I imagine. So it'll be a good time to pick everything up. And we'll see how low those prices go, because I've got most all of them now. There's only about probably 50 tables left that I have not bought. So I'll still be shopping for what I haven't purchased yet. Steps is saying, I had a good time, lifelong Penguins fan, and my Iron Maiden friend got me into casinos, luxury suite seats, so I went. That sounds like fun. I'm not the biggest hockey fan, but I do love going to the hockey games. I feel like being at the arena during the game is a ton of fun. Jabba UK saying, good evening, good morning, dudes. Just checked the price of Star Wars cab here in the UK, and it's going to be $785 USD. They're at $599. Their pricing there. That's way too much. And then 45% for Scared Stiff right now on that poll. Mike Hockhurt says, I sometimes start up the 4KP just to have Knight Rider themed jamming. Yeah, that's a great... especially if you're a fan of the TV show, that's a great table to have. And the music is just so iconic and catchy, right? JJ says, I'm surprised we haven't seen a Black Friday Zen sale on the Elvira table. Yeah, we'll see what happens tomorrow. But I don't know if they're going to discount those, because that's their most recent one that just came out. But who knows? They should do something, right? For Black Friday, like 10%, 20%, something. B Kirby's here saying, what's up, Biggie D? Good to see you, B Kirby. Glad you made it. I reached out to you this weekend, see if you were in town. I guess you're not here yet. Hopefully soon. Mike Cockhart says, let's go Islanders. Big win tonight for hockey fans. All right, so that is going to be it on those posts for that page. This is the most recent page we're looking at here. Deadpool VR came out this week. So I have not bought Deadpool VR yet. I am interested in it. But I think this game is pretty pricey for a VR game. This is their premier, title that MetaQuest is putting out right now. Kind of similar to how they did this time last year with the Batman game that came with the headset. I haven't seen the MetaQuest. Is it coming with the Deadpool VR game for Black Friday? I don't know. But they are charging $50 for this one, which is pretty pricey for a VR game. So I'm probably going to wait on this. I don't know if I'm like hugely pumped for this. I don't know if like this game is one that I like just have to have, right? The animation style they went with this kind of cartoony look. I know it's really colorful and everything, and I know that the processing power of the MetaQuest is kind of lacking. They can't really push those graphics too hard because the limitations of the headset, right? But I just don't know if I'm pumped for this. I don't know if I like this animation style, this kind of cartoony looking Deadpool. I'll definitely end up getting this game, but I don't know if it's worth $50 to me, right? I may want to get this one at $30 or $25. Maybe wait a month or 2 months and get this one at $25-$30. So we'll see. If you guys have bought this game and you liked it and you think it's just like a must, you got to get this one, then maybe you can convince me of it, because I'm definitely a huge Marvel fan. I'm definitely a big Deadpool fan, and I'm always looking for, AAA, really good VR games, because that I think is one of the biggest problems with VR is that it hasn't really gone completely mainstream yet with gaming. So I don't feel like it has the library or the new releases that the other, flat screen consoles are giving you. But this is a big title. So I'm really happy we're getting a huge title, big license, a Marvel game. All that's really good. I just don't know if what I've seen so far is enough to sell me on paying full price and getting this right now. But you guys will have to let me know. Is Deadpool VR something you've played? Have you already gone through this game and really enjoyed it? Let us know in the chat. Now, Papa Brad's Gaming says all the Zen titles or tables you picked are fun. I will play, of course. And he says, wow, too rich for my blood. Devastator Omega says, speaking of VR, Steam VR is coming out. Interested? Yes, we talked about the Steam VR headset last week. Very interested in it. I'm definitely going to be interested in the headset itself because I just love VR. I've been playing a ton of it the last week or two now that the temperatures have cooled down and I can put these headsets on more comfortably and be active in VR with, because during the summer it's so dang hot here. I just didn't really play a lot of VR over the summer, but I noticed over the last couple weeks with the cooler temps, I've been playing a lot more, and was playing Behemoth on the PSVR 2 today. Amazing VR game, really fun. Graphics look really good on that one. Gonna have a great time with that game. But I will get the Steam VR as well because I love the option. Right, I can go with MetaQuest or PSVR 2 right now. I don't necessarily have to buy a game with a certain headset. I have a choice in multiple headsets, especially with the Steam giving me a third option is going to make it even better. Also, Steam has some really good VR titles, like with the Half-Life Alyx game. I'm sure they're going to come out with more VR titles in the future. Probably do like a Portal VR game, I would imagine, in the future with that new headset. So I think that's going to be a must-buy to get it. And I hope it's really fun and better than the other headsets. We don't have many details on it yet. Jabba UK says no sell on the Avira tables here either. I didn't double dip, only got it for VR. I haven't gotten it for VR yet. I've got it on PlayStation and I have it on PC. I'm hoping for some Pinball FX VR discounts, Black Friday sales this week. We'll have to see if that happens or not. Because it seems like the VR pinball tables haven't been getting the deals we've been seeing on Steam and PlayStation and Nintendo. Mike Cockert says, very expensive. Looks like half pinball, half video game. Might be cool though. And Papa Brad's Gaming says, Pinball FX VR is great. Jabba introduced me to Tetris in VR. It's really fun as well. And then the Big B 1973 says Neil Patrick Harris is the voiceover. Hard pass for me. Yeah, I did know that it was Neil Patrick Harris. I'd read that and early on when they were developing the game, and I was a little bit reluctant on whether or not Neil Patrick Harris would make a good voiceover for Deadpool, but watching the trailers and some of the gameplay, it seems like he did a pretty good job. He sounds like Deadpool to me, but it's hard to fill anyone else into that role after we've known just one Deadpool over all these movies. Mike Hawkert says, if you talk about Spreetel WrestleFest returns, I ended up keeping mine because it was going to be almost $30 to ship back, as Prime was not the way early units were shipped. Okay, so we are going to get into that. That's going to be a big topic of discussion tonight, is the Spreetel WrestleFest returns. What's going on with that? Because I was a little bit unhappy with the news, and I want to share that with you guys because I want you all to be aware of what you're getting into and things like that with these new Basic Fun cabinets, because it's not all pretty. There are some things that you need to know. Fireside Arcade says, definitely looking forward to the new Steam machine. Valve is top shelf. So yes, VR headset by Steam, definitely getting that, and I'm very interested in the Steam machine. I don't yet know if I'll get it, but I am very interested in it as well. Because I have a huge library of Steam games, and I'd love to have like a dedicated console to play those Steam games on. Mike Hockert says, I bought the Countercade WrestleFest. They did give me a $50 refund for being an early purchaser. So you got a discount of $50 by being one of the first to get that Countercade. So Deadpool VR, let us know, guys, or if you're rewatching the stream, let us know, did you enjoy it? Do you think we should go get it? Now, back on the 18th, I had posted this about the new, because we've been playing Walkabout Mini Golf every Wednesday night on this channel. And it's actually starting to catch on. We're getting more and more people each week, which is really fun. But they had announced on the 18th that chess was going to be added, where like we could go into Walkabout Mini Golf, go sit down somewhere and actually play a game of chess in there now. So I thought that was really cool. They're just adding more and more features to the Walkabout Mini Golf for VR. And they actually officially announced that it's available now. I just saw that today, but it's advertised on their social media today of new content. Chess is now available. So it's only going to be available on 3 of the courses. That's going to be Welcome Island, Venice, and Upside Downtown. And I know a ton of people are not fans of that Upside Downtown, so I'm surprised that they picked that course for chess. But you can play it in Venice, which is a really good course as well. So that's available now, where you can just hop into Walkabout Mini Golf and play chess on those courses. But we've been having a really good time, you know, on Walkabout Wednesdays. You guys got to come join us, whether that be through your cell phone, just playing like on an Apple or Android cell phone, or if you've got a VR headset, you know, definitely come join us. This is our results from last Wednesday, and we did this Land of the Elves course, and I posted it with plenty of time for everyone to join. You're just going to put in Home Arcade for the room, and we're starting at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. Eastern. We had Meatball Saucy this week, which I tied, and then the Real Rebel won, which I've got a lot of experience playing with the Real Rebel. He's great at mini golf. I've been playing with him for a long time, just on other nights. But he joined us on Walkabout Wednesdays this week, and he killed it. He got a -9 on this course while we tied at +2. So he just absolutely destroyed us. But we had a great time. And it's not about winning with this. It's just to hang out. Let's talk. Let's, you know, see how everyone's doing during the week, middle of the week. Check in, have a good time playing some golf at the same time. So come join us. We're doing this every week. I'm going to stay consistent with it no matter what, unless I'm out of town or I've got some emergency or something, we're going to be doing it. Brooklyn Menace, cheers. Good to see you. I caught your game light gun stream this week, or it was today, actually. I think you just received your pre-order of that game light gun. Let's take a look at that product. This is it here, guys. But it was a Kickstarter, and I saw that Brooklyn Menace had kickstarted it and was playing it today. On, you guys got to go check out his channel because he was live streaming it, and evidently he's really enjoying it. He says once you get it all calibrated and locked in, it's extremely accurate, and it looks like he was having a really good time with Time Crisis and Point Blank. So you guys got to go check this out. Pre-order on the website now. So even though it was a Kickstarter, it looks like we can go pre-order it now. So this would probably be the package I would want, is the gun premium, which came with the pedal, because you're going to definitely want that pedal playing Time Crisis, I feel. And it looks like you can get it for $150. Not bad. Now, one thing that they did do for the pre-orders, because, you know, some of the pre-order, you know, people, they took a lot of risk, you know, kickstarting this without knowing, you know, how long it was going to take or what it was going to end up being like. But I had come across Brooklyn's post today. It looks like they rewarded everyone for the Kickstarter, which I thought was really cool of them. And if you did kickstart this, you need to go check this out. But thanks to Brooklyn for posting this. Let's see here. Where was that at? You put it on YouTube, didn't you? Let's see. Yeah, so if you go to Brooklyn Menace's YouTube page, you're going to see it right here. He says if you back the game on Kickstarter, they're giving away a free special gift to backers. You do have a deadline that you have to claim it by, but it looks like they're going to give you a travel case. So that's cool, a limited backers edition travel case that you can throw the gun in, the pedal in the console, and take it with you. I think that's really cool that they're rewarding the backers with that. So go check this out. You know, go give Brooklyn a like on his post, and let everyone know. Thanks for letting everyone know, Brooklyn, about that, because I thought that was really cool of Game to throw that in for people that supported them and made that happen. Papa Brad's Gaming says, I think Steps Gaming covered the WrestleFest as well. Papa Brad saying the Upside Downtown gives him a headache. I don't have any issue playing it. I really enjoy that course, but it seems like there's a lot of people that have not liked Upside Downtown. Mike Cockhart says, smart move by Walkabout. I think these VR games that attract a wide audience should do more crossovers, such as Zen adding classic playable arcade games to their pinball rooms. Yes, great idea, Mike. I think that was probably one of the biggest topics of discussion whenever the Zen FX VR came out, was like, we want a room, like, you know, that arcade we go into to play pinball. One, we want that to be multiplayer, where we can all join and we can all play pinball together and interact like we do with Walkabout Mini Golf. But also it'd be cool to have arcade games in there too. If you play Pinball FX and you do the more wide out angle where you can see everything behind the table, you'll see there are arcade cabinets back there. So it would be great to be able to move over to the arcades and play those too, and just to have those thrown in as like another option, just more replay value, just makes it a little more immersive too. Because, you know, anywhere there's a pinball, there's normally an arcade machine right close by too as well. Step says, yeah, the WrestleFest upset me. I should have just let it go. I'll have to check out what you said. I don't know if I've seen it yet. Mike Cockert says, do you play during or after AA meetings on Wednesdays? So we play Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. 10 p.m. Eastern. I don't know what time Arcades Anonymous are starting, but like normally we've got maybe 2 people, 3 people at the most, and we're able to get through an 18-hole course within like 30 minutes. So if you wanted to, or if you were missing some AA to come play mini golf, you would probably only miss like 30 minutes of their show, and then you could jump right back into their stream when we get done, if they are overlapping. But sometimes that has to happen. We can't plan everything around everyone all the time. We can try, but not all the time. That's the one that Brooklyn got, was that one with the pedal. I think you got to get that on the game light gun. Mike Cockert says, I'd like to pick up the Time Crisis unit, but I've been sitting on a Reaper retro shooter and a PC light gun build. I want to set up first and hopefully not need anything else. So I've got the Send-In light gun. I've got a couple of them, and I've got some great builds. I've got the Retro Lizard light gun build for my PC. It also plugs directly into my iArcade. So do I need another light gun? Not really. But I do kind of like what I've seen from the game light gun, like the response and the reviews, and the feedback has looked really good, I felt. So, you know, I may end up getting one. Now, will I pre-order? Probably not. I'm going to wait till they're available on the website, and it'll ship immediately. Whenever that happens, I'll probably get one. I imagine I'll get one, because I don't have, all I have is the Send-In. I don't have the Reaper, and I never bought those retro shooters. So probably pick this one up. I love light gun games, and I don't think you can get enough of that if it plays well. So, okay, so I put on the thumbnail $9.99 Nintendo Switch games. So last week we looked at TMNT Wrath of the Mutants for $10 for the Nintendo Switch at Walmart. I found Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown at Walmart for less than $10 this week. Pick that up. Unfortunately, on the Switch, you don't get a physical cart, so you just get the download code. But every once in a while, that's not terrible because it is nice not have to take out the card every time you want to play a game. So every once in a while, that doesn't bug me. Also, I still like having the case too. It's cool to have the case with the game. So that's the one I picked up, is the Switch version, even though I probably could have picked it up on PS5 and been really happy with that too. I actually started playing it today, and this Prince of Persia is a banger game. It is a lot of fun. I was very surprised, especially the way I'm playing it. I'm playing it on a Switch Lite, a yellow one, and I just love yellow. So when I play my Switch Lite, I just always enjoy it because I just love that little device. And with this Prince of Persia, the art style it went with, the graphics style it went with, you don't really need a big screen to play it. Actually, a small screen is sufficient for this game because there's not a huge amount of detail, like zoomed in detail on this game. It's very in the way the style they went with. So playing it on a small screen is actually very enjoyable. And I probably played an hour straight of this Prince of Persia on my Switch Lite, and got all the way through the first boss and had a really good time with it. So I feel like I've already gotten my $10 out of it, like within the first hour. So definitely go pick this up. I think it's worth $20, $30, no doubt. But if you can get it for 10, you've got a steal on your hands. JJ says the big advantage to the game Light Gun is that it is plug and play. Yes, that's the good thing. It comes with the console. You don't need anything else with it. And I'm kind of jealous of like these backers because they got that, that travel case with it, because that's even cool. Is it's so small and compact. Put it in the travel case, take it over to your friend's house, take it with you on a trip somewhere, share it with everyone, on your vacation. So really cool little device. So talking $10 Switch deals, $10 deals. So I got 2 in the last 2 weeks, and I want to keep that train going. And I want to get a bunch of games for super cheap for the Switch. I'm just and play those games. So if I search Switch deals right now, this one was kind of enticing, and I almost was ready to buy this, but it is still $30, and I still haven't beaten the DK for Wii U, which is the Frozen one. Forgot what that one's called, DK Frozen whatever, Frozen Kingdom or whatever that game's called. I haven't beaten that one yet. So this is actually a 3DS title that was remade for the Switch. Do I need it? Not really right now. So I'm going to pass on that, even though I feel like $30 is a really good deal on that game. Here's your Prince of Persia. Definitely go get this. That's pocket change. Super Mario Odyssey, if you haven't picked that up, you got to get that. Now, this is kind of cool, guys. This is a Zelda game that I never picked up about a year ago. Around this time last year, I was very interested in picking this game up, and I never did. And I really enjoyed Link's Awakening a lot. Like I'm a huge fan of Link's Awakening, the remake for Switch. Played it all the way through. Had a really good time with that game. So I would say, next Sunday when we have our next live stream, don't be surprised if this is part of my collection at $30. This is the first time I've actually seen this game for $30. We just saw it live together. So I'm definitely going to probably pick this up. That's a great deal. And I just love this over-the-top, Zelda. It reminds me so much of playing Link to the Past on SNES. And there's one issue with this is I heard the Switch hardware has some limitations, that there is a little bit of lag and frame rate issues with this game. Hopefully, over the last year with some updates, they have fixed that. So we'll have to see. And then I'm sure they're going to do a Switch 2 version of this game as well. If you guys have already bought your Switch 2, maybe you want to wait. But I'll probably pick this one up. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't. And my only kind of, I guess, criticism of this one is I love playing as Link. Do I really want to play as Zelda? But it seems like she's got all these magic powers and new stuff that you can do with this one that's going to change it up, make it a little bit different from Link's Awakening. So gonna pick this up. I'm actually really excited I came across this tonight with you guys, because nothing like playing some Zelda. You've got Paper Mario, the Thousand Year Door, $30, really good deal. Also, Nintendo Store's doing of course, their store is doing their Black Friday. I did go through some of these deals here. They're a little bit pricey on the store. Like, for instance, the Prince of Persia, you're going to pay $10 more on their store. That Paper Mario we just looked at for $30 is $40 on the store. You haven't picked up Skyrim. I thought the $16.49 was a good deal. So they've got some decent stuff in here. I'm not going to go through it all tonight with y'all, but the store already has their Black Friday, and it looks like they're going to do a Cyber Monday Nintendo store as well. So we'll see what that looks like. Now, Best Buy, I put the Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver remaster on the thumbnail for $10. Now, the reason that I did that is I did it for a couple of reasons. The main reason was that it is $20, which isn't $10, which I thought was a really good deal. But I'm a Best Buy member. Like, I've got their regular membership, nothing special or anything like that, just the regular membership. And I think they do this every year around this time. But what they do is they send out these $10 gift certificates. So you guys may have received one of these in your email. So I did this last year, and you just put the $10 towards that $20 title, and you've got a deal on your hands. You got a $10 game. Like, so I'm gonna get the Soul Reaver game, I think, with that $10. Let's take a look here at our Switch deals. So let's see here. The Best Buy website's taking a minute to load for me. Now, we looked at this game last week, and wasn't it $20 last week? I should have bought it. Dang it. I was waiting, thinking the price was going to stay the same or maybe even potentially go down. And I was wrong. It looks like the price went up $5 since last Sunday. Maybe they underestimated that $20 price point, and they probably were like, oh, we got to pull back the reins, make it $25. So we'll see if I pick up the Splintered Fate. That's still a good deal, but I should have picked it up, I guess, last weekend, looking back on that. So looks like Best Buy is going to have some other really good deals on Switch games as well. Look at these ones for $15. I don't know if I'm a big Mario Rabbids fan, but $15, like, that's amazing. You got Sonic for $16. So some really good, where Switch games were notoriously expensive before the Switch 2 came out. Now they're starting to become like really good buys at some of these lower price points. This Pac-Man Museum's kind of interesting at $18. So a lot of good low prices here, guys, to go check out at Best Buy. I think Walmart's doing some of this. Like, I've been seeing this $20 Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Fighting Collection. Could use that $10 gift certificate towards that, get it for $10. But I've already got the MVC2 Arcade 1-Up cabinet, and I've already got this Fighting Collection on Steam. So do I really need it on Switch? Not really. So I've got so many ways to play Marvel vs. Capcom. I don't really need another way. Now, this Lego Horizon game I heard is actually really fun. It's only $20. 2K26 for $30. But I think this is the one I'm going to use my $10 gift certificate on, is the Soul Reaver 1 and 2 Remastered Collection. Because again, like how I was playing, TMNT Wrath of the Mutants on the Switch Lite, really enjoying it. Having a really good time today with Prince of Persia. I think I could have a really good time, you know, just on a handheld playing Legacy of Kain 1 and 2 Remastered, because these games I played all the way through when they came out, way back when these games first released. So to be able to play them with better graphics and, you know, be able to relive these games again so long after. I mean, it's probably been 20, 25 years since I've played some of these games. And I played these all the way through. These, looking back on like my computer days of video games, these Legacy of Kain Soul Reaver games were one of the ones that I remember the most, because they really pushed the graphics. And I remember on PlayStation 1, like the Soul Reaver 1 really pushed the graphics beyond what I had ever seen before at that time. So I think it's deserving of a remaster. And I think it's deserving of, like, what, $10? Absolutely. Step says, I can't stand Switch Lite. She doesn't like it. I love my little Switch Lite, especially my yellow one, because I'm a big fan of yellow. So I just love the fact that I can have that in that color. Step said, did you get the Cowabunga collection yet? It does have a real arcade game on it. Haven't picked up the Cowabunga collection because I feel like I can play those other ways. It's got a lot of console versions on there, so I never picked that one up. I do have, of course, the TMNT, what is that, Shredder's Revenge beat 'em up game. And talking, you know, beat 'em up, you know, games like that Shredder's Revenge, I saw that Marvel Cosmic Invasion game is now available for pre-order. So I played the demo of this, and it was really good. Awesome demo. But you can go get it now. It's going to be $40 for the Switch. Let's see, Switch 2 will be $50 and $40 on the PS5. I'll probably just pick it up. Actually, this game I'm probably going to do just like I did with the Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection. I'm probably going to pick it up on Steam. And the reason is I have my X Arcade now hooked up to my computer, and I'll be able to play this through my computer on the X Arcade. Also, this game doesn't use like a lot of like graphic, like you don't need like a graphics card to run this game, even though it's a modern game. It's just going to release this year. It can be ran on pretty much anything, like very low end hardware. So like what I did is I hooked up like my laptop, my $300 laptop, which can't run anything really. And I was able to play the demo all the way through with no lag, with a good frame rate. And I hooked that up to my Legends Ultimate, and I played this all the way through on my Legends Ultimate and had a really good time. The demo I did. So what I'll probably end up doing is buying this on Steam, hooking it and just playing it through my laptop on my Legends Ultimate. And then I'll probably play it again on my X Arcade, just to, you know, experience it on a couple of different devices. Do I want to play it on the X Arcade or the AtGames Legends Ultimate? Which one do I enjoy it on more? But really fun beat 'em up arcade game. If you guys enjoyed like the TMNT Shredder's Revenge, or if you're a big Marvel fan, this is going to be a must buy. And it is now available for pre-order. I don't pre-order anything. I'm just going to go buy this probably on like CD keys the day or two after it releases for probably like, it's going to probably be $40 on Steam. I may get it for like $35 on CD keys on December 1st. I thought it was interesting how they're waiting to release this till after Black Friday on December 1st. I don't know why they did that. But it'll be available digital on December 1st. If you want to pre-order the actual physical copy of the game, you are going to have to wait. It's just like how Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection or the Capcom Fighting Collection 2 was, where you're going to be able to play this December 1st digitally, but you're going to have to wait till like March for the physical copy to ship. So definitely, you know, got to consider that and weigh, do I want to get a physical copy? Because I'm going to have to wait till March if I want to do that. And but we'll be getting this game day one, no doubt about it. And I think there's a deluxe edition of this as well, I had saw. So let's all kind of share and look at that together. So Marvel vs. Capcom 2 Deluxe Edition. Let's see what that looks like. Here it is. See if I can get a big photo of this. So it's going to have a deluxe box, sticker sheets, a steelbook, premium art cards, and a poster. I think the art cards are really cool because I used to collect the X-Men trading cards, and I have like a full collection of those X-Men trading cards, like big books of them. So I think it'd be cool to have these to go with it. And then the steelbook, of course, you're going to get that. And then the poster is kind of cool. I don't know how much the deluxe is. Let's take a look. Let's see, is it worth the extra money to get all that? So it's $70. So you're going from 50 to 70. So you're basically paying 20 bucks for some cards, a poster, and a steelbook. So you have to, weigh that as well. Is the deluxe edition worth it? B. Kirby says, I backed the game Kickstarter. I really like it. You'll have to let us know when you get yours. I don't know if you've received it yet. Or you said you really like it, so you must have already received it and been playing it this weekend, sounds like. Tropical Freeze, thanks for reminding me, Brooklyn. I couldn't remember. That is a hard freaking game. I put years into that Tropical Freeze, DK, and still feel like I'm plugging away. JJ says it's very rare to see Nintendo first-party Switch games go for less than 30. So even though some of these are listed at 30, they're probably as cheap as you're ever going to find them. And I agree. JJ, like that Zelda game we were just looking at, I don't think it'll ever go lower than $30. I don't think any of these games are going to surpass, less than 30 bucks. So I think you're right on the money with that. And a really good tip for you guys out there, if you're waiting on a better deal for some of these, like we just ran through, like DK, Zelda, Mario games, don't expect any lower than 30. This is the time to, stack up and build your library is right now. Brooklyn says it already has a Switch 2 update. Okay, very cool to hear. We're already getting an update on that game. Did you buy the game Light Gun? Calvin asked. I did not. I was a little on the fence on it, but I ended up waiting it out. I'm just going to pay the extra money and get it when it's available to ship and just buy as like a regular customer. I didn't want to pre-order or put any money down ahead of time. Devastator says Best Buy has a good gaming rig for the Lenovo LOQ PC. I'm trying to convince myself to get it. So Best Buy is going to have, lots of deals. Of course, you're going to be able to find Amazon deals. A lot of where I'm going to get a lot of my Black Friday shopping done is on a website called slickdeals.com or slickdeals.net. You guys got to go check this out. It basically has every deal of the day on here. And right now, this upcoming week, you've really got to check this every day because there's going to be something out there you're probably going to want, and it's going to be the price that you're going to want it at. And this is where I'm finding some, I don't just use Google. A lot of times I'll use Slick Deals to find games too. Like here, like this is a really good deal, right? Mortal Kombat 1 Nintendo Switch, 20 bucks. So if you were wanting to play through the campaign of Mortal Kombat 1, you never got a chance to do that. Looks like for 20 bucks you can do that now. So check out slickdeals.net as well. Especially you, Devastator. If you're looking for like a gaming rig, probably find that on there. Brooklyn says, I got my copy of Soul Reaver today. Awesome. Good to hear. I'm going to have to watch you stream that. I will have a really good time. That'll be like that one stream where I watch a ton of it because I want to see what you think of it and experience that as well watching you play it. Fireside says, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond at 70 bucks, just crazy, out very soon. I saw that. Metroid Prime 4 is coming out. I think that's going to be December like 4th or something like that I saw today. is what they're announcing. So this is Metroid Prime 4 for the Switch 2, $70. That is high. So let's take a look at this here. You know, it's like I feel like if I bought this on the Switch, I would really be shooting myself in the foot. I feel like if I'm going to get a title like this that was really like a big, it wasn't a launch game. It should have been a launch game for the Switch 2, but it didn't make that, you know, that launch. But this is a system seller here. This is a console seller. And this would be a game that I would want to play on the Switch 2. So I'll probably wait till next year before I get to experience this game. But, you know, talking about Brooklyn Menace and how he's streaming games, I imagine he'll be streaming this one. And it looks good. This is going to go with the first-person shooter, you know, style, which is what I've always liked in Metroid. Wasn't a huge fan of the side-scrolling Metroid like a lot of y'all probably were. But to be able to play it in first person like this is really cool. And I think you're going to need to go with this Switch 2 edition because that's where it's going to look pretty. It's going to play well. I think you're going to be really unhappy with the Switch 1 version compared to the Switch 2 version. Hate to say it, but I think you will be. Jabba says Steam Deck OLED is the best bang for your buck. Yeah, those are still a great device. You know, several years later, you know, a Steam Deck is still a solid buy, solid gaming device. Mike Hawkert says Cosmic Invasion is a day one buy, just not sure which platform and if he's going to get physical next year. Yes, day one buy, absolutely. I feel like this title, Cosmic Invasion, is a home arcade console release. Like we have these ever so often. We had it with the MVC2 Fighting Collection, the Capcom Fighting Collection 2. There's a lot of these games that fit the home arcade community perfectly in what we're looking for, which is a modern version of an arcade game that we could sit down and enjoy and reminisce and get that nostalgia of like those old arcade beat 'em up games like X-Men with this one. And I just cannot wait to play this because I still play like the TMNT Shredder's Revenge. All these years later, I still really enjoy sitting down or standing up in front of my arcade and playing that game. So, you know, Cosmic Invasion's right up, I think, a lot of everyone's alley and what they're looking for in a release that's arcade related. Steps Turbo says, did you see the new Resident Evil Switch 2 Pro controller? I did not. I'm a huge Resident Evil fan. So, and I remember the days of when Resident Evil was an exclusive on the Nintendo Switch. Do you guys remember that? I was so unhappy with that because I was such a PlayStation fan. And whenever the GameCube came out, they got that exclusivity on the Resident Evil. And I did not have a GameCube, but I pushed my parents to get a GameCube for my sister, even though my sister didn't really play video games that much. And she wasn't really interested in it. I was like, buy my sister a GameCube so I can get Resident Evil and Resident Evil 0 for the GameCube and play it. And I think I played that GameCube more than she did. But she did play that DK game with the bongos, and she loved that game. So it ended up being a solid buy for her because she fell in love with that DK game. But here, Resident Evil Switch 2 Pro controller, very cool. And that's cool that Switch 2's getting the modern Requiem Resident Evil, and you're not going to have to play it over a cloud service. You're actually going to be able to play it locally on the Switch 2. So this is really cool. I think this is a big deal that Switch is getting Resident Evil and getting it day one. It's going to be just like on the other consoles, releasing at the same time, and it'll probably look and play just as good on the Nintendo. So as far as the artwork, it looks like you're just getting a little artwork there on the front. But this is $100. Jeez, and it's sold out. Steps, I probably would not pay $100 for that. Even though I'm a huge Resident Evil fan, I don't think that controller does enough for me to be able to pay $100 for that. Is Switch 2 version a key card or full game? It looks like it's going to be a cart, but I don't know. It won't be out till March, but I imagine it'll be a cart. If it weren't, then you would think they'd just release it now. Papa Brad's Gaming says, I could see if maybe gave you something that was actually good. Paper and cardboard for 20 bucks, 20 more bucks. Steps Turbo says, Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze is 11 years old now. The Wii is 19 years old. Yes, and still an amazing console almost 20 years later. I cannot believe 20 years since the Wii came out. That's crazy. Mike Hawkert says, I feel like they rushed Metroid Prime 4. Feels like they just announced it yesterday. And Devastator is saying, when is GTA 6 going to come out? You buying it on PC or console? I think I might buy it on PlayStation 5. I've always played my GTA games on PlayStation, so I don't see it being any different this time around. The Garage Gamer says, yeah, that controller doesn't seem impressive. It doesn't. It's very basic. I was expecting something flashy, something different, and it's a little bit disappointing steps. But I'm glad you shared it with us. Thank you for sharing that with us and having us look at it together. I think the regular Pro controller is $89.99. Really good controller. Probably should be $70 though. Yeah, are you going to pay $10 extra? In really $90 for just the regular Pro controller is outrageous. I feel like I bought my Switch 1 Pro controller for like $60. Why are the prices so high? All right, so let's get back to the news here and let's see what we got left. So we talked about Walkabout Golf. We talked about Black Friday deals for console games. There is actually some Black Friday deals already going on Amazon as well. I'd posted this. So it looks like you can get the WrestleFest for $480. You can get the Centipede for $475. You can get the Countercade for $189 for the WrestleFest or the Centipede. And if you guys remember, I had said that it was probably going to be $199 for the Countercade, but they really should get it down to $150. They didn't make that mark, unfortunately. And then I thought that the Ultras were going to be $450, and they really needed to get them down to $400. So let's kind of look at what the results were of that. $480. Like, why not make these $450, guys? That's just ridiculous. $480. You're just penny pinching at that point. $474, again, penny pinching, just making a little extra money. These were, I guess, surprising. Like, I thought these were going to be $199 on the Countercade. They're actually $189, so they surprised me a little on those. But I thought they really needed to be at $150 to be like to make people excited about it and have people really discussing and talking about it. And it doesn't look like they've hit that mark yet. Now, that could still change. You know, Thursday, Friday, these prices can drop further. You know, they can name their price, really. So those are on sale. Will they go less than this? I don't know, but they could. And I don't see any reason why, like, you need to go buy these tonight. I would say my advice is to wait till Friday to get them and see if there's any additional savings. Now, you are taking a little bit of a risk of that price going back up. So you got to, you know, decide, you know, is that price good enough for you to just pull the trigger now? Or do you think you can save a little bit more? Let's wait on the metrics here because I got one more subject on the basic fun I want to cover before I get into that. So this is kind of a little controversial, I feel like, subject here because it's not positive for Basic Fun. I've been really positive about Basic Fun and what they're doing with these arcade classic cabinets, and I thought like everything has been looking good. Their customer service has been great. It seems like they're taking care of their customers. They're fixing issues with updates. They're improving the games through an update that I never thought would be possible. So I gotta really give them props and really highlight the good things that Basic Fun has been doing. But we also got to point out the other, you know, maybe unknowns, things that you need to be aware of. And Spreetel is charging a restocking fee, at least on the WrestleFest countercade that we know of so far. This came from a YouTube channel. The YouTube channel, let me bring that up for you guys, because we really should give this person credit, because they're the ones who made this known. But sorry, I keep doing that. Sorry about that, guys. But it's Radical Reggie is the channel. Very big channel, over 100,000 subscribers. But he ended up picking up this cabinet, and they sent him this whenever he tried to return it, because he just wasn't happy with it. He didn't want to keep it, right? And I'd been letting you guys know as well, good thing about Amazon is you have the ability to return it, right? Like if you're unhappy with it, you don't want to keep it. Maybe you just made an impulse buy and you really don't want this countercade or this Ultra Series arcade cabinet, and you want to return it via Amazon, you should be able to do that within 30 days at no penalty, right? Well, that's not the case. Evidently, they're charging a restocking fee. So this was the message he received. Thank you for your purchase. A restocking fee has been applied to your recent return refund due to the condition of the returned items. So what is their stipulations for that? If you include everything in the box that it came with and it's still in perfect condition, are they still charging you a restocking fee? Because it sounds like they are. And this person got kind of screwed. He only got $108 back on his return. So the guy paid like $250 or maybe $200 for this and only got $108 back. That's ludicrous. That's crazy. They're going to keep almost 50% of his money or more, and they're going to get the product back. That's highway robbery. So I was very struck by this news when I saw this today, and I just want to, throw the red flag out there and let everyone know that this is not the way to do business. I would not encourage anyone right now to go get one of these cabinets under the stipulation that you can return it and you have the freedom to return it, and you're buying it through Amazon. You have the backing of Amazon, because that's not the case. Evidently, Spreetel has a lot of say in your return and what amount of money you're going to get back. And Spreetel is not very nice about this. They're going to keep a lot of your money. So, this is back-to-back 2 weeks in a row where we're getting into like controversy, type very controversial subjects. One last week, which was a $1,200 to $1,300 list price, which we uncovered. And I watched the Arcade Insiders this week, and Spreetel was very sorry about that. They instantly fixed the issue. They apologized. They assured us that that's not going to ever happen again with that list price. So now we've got another controversy on our hands this week where they're keeping almost 50% of people's money and they're keeping the product. So they're basically, I feel like, taking people's money at that point. And I'm very interested to see what their follow-up, this upcoming Thursday's Thanksgiving. So is there even going to be an Arcade Insiders? I don't know. But if there is, they definitely need to address this. And I got to really give them, a high amount of praise, because last week I thought they really handled the list price controversy very professionally. And I feel like they really nipped it in the bud quickly and they took care of it. And that's kind of been our experience with their customer service as far as taking care of issues and also updating, games that had critical issues. So I hope that this again will just be another roadblock, another misstep, another mistake on their part, and they're going to correct it. And I believe that they will. I think they're just going through a lot of growing pains right now as a company, and then also their partnership with Spreetel. There's just a lot of growing pains right now with this new product. So we'll see what their response is. I think they can kind of fix everything and put everything back into place if they can just take care of these people and not screw them over, right? Jabba says, think GTA has been put back to November 26th. Yeah, I'm not waiting. I'm not expecting anytime soon for GTA to come out. I wouldn't be surprised if it was heavily delayed again into 2027. So when it comes for me on that GTA. I've waited long enough. But I'm hugely amped and anticipated for it when it drops. Step says these are normal prices, LOL, what you should pay anyway, talking about the Black Friday pricing on the Basic Fun arcades. Also, Kevin said you could only hit that price, Biggie, on VMI website. I Kickabod Crane is here. Cheers, buddy. Glad to see you in the chat. Steps Turbo says they charged Reggie a restocking fee. Damn, that's going to hurt. Yes, and it wasn't like a reasonable stocking fee of like 10% or 15%, or it wasn't like he damaged the unit and returned it in a really bad state, right? Or condition. They just took a lot of his money, bottom line. Unacceptable. Steps Gaming says they charged Reggie a restocking fee. That's going to hurt. Devastator says restocking charges is crazy work. Another reason why I'm avoiding Basic Fun like a plague right now. And, I think everyone reasonably should be considering that. Should I even be interested in a Basic Fun right now with the things that I've seen? So we'll have to see, can they correct it? Can they turn this around? Because I think everyone's going to be on the same page. This is absolutely highway robbery to take almost $100 of someone's $200 and then still ask for the product back and say, I want the product and I want your $100. That's retail charging a restocking fee, not Basic Fun. Yeah, that is not fun, right? We're not even having Basic Fun at those rates. Fireside Arcade says simply shady. Mike Hawkert says, if I read that correctly, wow, that's like over 50% restocking fee. That might not even be legal. I don't know. They're doing it through Amazon, so I don't know how they're getting away with it. Steps says the restocking fee should be like a 5 to 10% max. Yeah, 10 to 15% is where I feel like it should be at as an absolute max. And I'm a anti restocking fee person in the very beginning, because I feel like if you're buying it on Amazon or you're buying it on Walmart or Best Buy, you should have the backing of those companies and they should take care of it. Whether Spreetail wants to take care of it or not, I feel like those major multi-trillion-dollar companies need to be taking care of their customers at the end of the day and making up for Spreetail. If Spreetail wants to screw people over, fine. Amazon can take care of it for you. Mikey Yoon says, never go through a third-party seller on any platform. Make sure it's direct from Amazon if you want to buy, or if you want any chance of customer service. And that's been my experience. I always look for sold or at least shipped by Amazon, because then that at least gives you some backing. But if you're going directly through a third party for everything, good luck. Mikey Yoon says, and I don't blame Spreetail. They're probably screwed holding the bag with these Basic Fun toys. B. Kirby says, Spreetail, from my understanding, buys the arcade cabs from Basic Fun. So once Spreetail has them, they can basically name their price. They can essentially do what they want with that product. So unfortunate to see this happening, right? We got a new company in play. We got new cabinets coming, but then we've got what seems to be people trying to make any possible, profit. Like, what's the maximum amount of profit we can make off these people? Rather than gaining customers and improving your customer base and growing your company in the right way, it seems like they're just trying to take money any and every possible way they can. AtGames customer service metrics. So I thought this was really big this week. I know Steps kind of gave me a hard time for posting this week, but I thought the AtGames customer service news was very big for them, because like the only thing I own from AtGames is a Legends Ultimate and a Gamer Pro, which I've never really played. I've never picked up the pinball 4KP, and I still have not picked up that new TMNT HD pinball yet. And the reason is, number one, is there's a lot of issues with these machines, and I've been hearing a ton of negative things about the customer service experience from AtGames customers. So it's made me extremely reluctant to move into the AtGames pinball ecosystem or platform, because I felt like I was getting into the weeds of a bunch of issues that I wasn't going to receive any support for. So I feel like my number one buying, as a buyer or a potential buyer, the thing that I have on my radar is any customer service related news. I know there's a lot of deals going out right now. Even Papa Brad sent me like a bunch of 70% off tables, 60% off pinball tables that I was going to share with you guys tonight. But I'm not really in the market right now for an AtGames pinball because of all their customer service issues, all the things that I've heard from their customer base as far as, their experiences. So I'm more focused on the customer service side of things. When that gets fixed, maybe then I'll be back more interested in the games and the prices and potentially picking one of these up. So let's look at the customer service metrics and see, is their new partnership with TalentPop enough to convince me or influence me to potentially change my mind on wanting to jump into their platform? And so week 11, 10 through 14, this was the first week that this new partnership started. And their customer service is available Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Pacific time. It looks like they had an average first response time of 8 hours, 40 minutes for all new tickets received during the week. So if you were to submit a ticket, that means by the next business day, you should have received some type of response. I think that's pretty much standard. They really probably should be same day, not next day with that, because really all they're doing is they're sending a response email to you to let you know and acknowledge that they've received your complaint or your issue or your correspondence, and they're going to get back to you. So I don't know how impressive that really is, but I guess that's average. That's standard 8 hours. So they're at least meeting that now. And then their longest first response time was 19 hours, 54 minutes for any tickets during the week. So you could possibly wait up to 2 or 3 days to get your first response. But I don't know if this really gives us the full picture, because these numbers can kind of be influenced by their direct first response, right? If their first response is a template or an automated email back to the customer, then those metrics are not very impressive. But if they're actually getting a human person who's actually writing out a detailed message response, which is actually taking, I understand what you're giving me, and I'm responding back to you, acknowledging that and telling you what my next steps will be to resolve this, then these numbers would be very impressive. I feel like those would be a huge step up for AtGames. So we don't have those inside, details or specifics to be able to answer those questions right now. So I don't know how much we can really put into this, because we don't know the behind the scenes of where they're getting these numbers from and what is the customer actually receiving in that time. And is that really, something that we should consider as like an achievement or something that they, were doing very well. I can't say that based on what they've given us with this so far. So this is the second week. This was 11/17 through 11/21 last week, second week into this. Do we get more details this week than we did the previous week, which gives us a little bigger picture of what's going on and where they're improving? So it says an average first response time is 1 day, 20 hours now. So that has gone up, it looks like. The longest first response time has gone up slightly to 2 days, and an average resolution time of 1 week, 2 days. That includes backlog resolution time. So expect on average if you have an issue, for them to resolve that and come to a final conclusion on your issue within a week, 2 days, so 8 days. So you're basically business days waiting about a week and a half to 2 weeks to get your issue fixed. And I feel like that they definitely need to work on, because I think that really, and I'm glad they gave us those extra stats as far as resolution time, because that definitely gives us a wider, larger picture of what's going on, because that's really what we want to see is where did they come out as far as statistics wise on resolutions, when did they fix the actual issue and what were those statistics? And that looks okay, right? 8 days, 1 week, 2 days. If it took a week and a half, 2 weeks for AtGames to resolve your issue on average, would you be happy as a customer? And, they're working in like a technical field. They're dealing with technology. There's a lot of issues that arise with technology. There's updates. There's games that are introduced into the platform that cause issues. There's all kinds of things, right? So I would say that's okay. And I feel like that's a good starting point, right? We can now gauge week to week a better idea of, are they improving? Or are they backtracking? Are these numbers going up or then when they should be going down? We'll be able to judge that better based on these initial statistics and stats we're getting from them. But I do like the transparency, and I do like that we're actually getting an inside look as to what's going on. And I think this really says a lot about AtGames in that they know they have a problem. They know that they've got to fix it, and they want to fix it. Right? They really want to make a dent in an area where they've struggled. And I got to, praise them on that. I've got to, say that this is going to really help my, it's really going to help it's not going to put me over the edge, right? It's not going to put me into a position where I feel like I'm ready to buy today because of what I've read over the last 2 weeks on this. But maybe over the course of weeks or months of seeing this, it may start to influence my decision on whether or not I get an AtGames 4KP or I get a TMNT HD pinball. I think this can really play a big part in a person's buying process or influencing a potential buyer over the course of weeks or months, but not, initially. I don't think this is going to have a huge influence on how successful AtGames is going to be this month, but it may have a huge influence on how successful AtGames is as a company by this time next year. So if you guys want to check all this out and see this in detail, I'm going to try and keep track of this and keep all this posted onto the website, mainly for a couple of reasons. One, I think it's good information for anyone who's an AtGames fan or a customer or a potential customer. And I also think it's really big for me as a potential buyer, because this is the one thing that had held me back from getting one, is that I felt like their customer service was lacking. I felt like they weren't taking care of their customer base. And this reiterates and really puts a stamp of approval on what they're doing customer service wise to give me a lot more assurance in what I'm buying in the future. So go check all that out. I think that's really good stuff to look into and to study as just a fan of home arcade or an AtGames potential buyer. JJ says the greed of corporate America these days is ridiculous. The restocking fees, falsely posting prices, then marking those down a tad and saying they're on sale. Hell, I even return office tactics. All sucks. Steps is saying, I think they should offer good customer service, and I think those numbers are something that they should share. That should be internal info. So Steps is under the impression all this that we were just covering as far as the customer service stats is something they should be sharing internally with their team to improve as a company, not something they should be sharing with everyone to the public. Jabba says first response time during working hours should be 1 to 2 hours. I agree. I think if it's just a general, template or automated response, that needs to be quick, an hour, 2 hours at the most. I worked in IT for 20 years. Those response times, I would have been fired. So they're doing a lot of catch up. They're really far behind. So I think the numbers we're seeing right now are probably the higher end of what, I think these should and likely will only go down from here. Mikey says AtGames just can't get it right, or they don't want to. I used to see PK in streams and they seem to care about the customers, but I don't feel like they do anymore. I just feel like they're going through a lot right now. It's a roller coaster for them. They had some highs and they're going through some lows, and this is a big low for them right now because they're getting a lot of backlash on their customer service, and I think they're going the right route to fix that. Jabba says first response isn't fixing the issue. That's just contacting the customer back. Oh, Neo Arcade News is here. Neo Hyper saying, hey, Biggie, sorry I missed the bulk of the show. I'll have to catch it on replay. Yeah, definitely catch our stream on replay. I know most of our, like when I go back and I look at the previous week, I would say 2/3 of the people that watch the stream watch it on a replay throughout the week. We only get probably about 1/3 of our views during live, like, interactive in the chat. So, we'll definitely have a lot of people rewatch it. And I encourage you to, Neo, to watch the beginning because we have a lot of really good discussion tonight, I felt like, with Basic Fun, with the AtGames. And then we've got lots of deals. If you're into gaming, we've got tons of deals. So JJ says, man, I'd steer clear of the AtGames at the moment, not just their sustainability, but their sleazy business practices. So hopefully Spreetail's listening. They're taking note to this because I feel like the responses like you get in this chat, the things you're going to hear, in the community are things you really need to have an ear of and be attentive to, because these are your prime customers. These are the customers you want to win over as a company, Spreetail, are your home arcade enthusiasts, because there's no community or group of people out there more that love this kind of stuff than the YouTube home arcade community, I feel. Mike Cockhart says, AtGames producing these average numbers is an indictment on how poor the numbers must have previously been. And that's how I feel too, is like these numbers are going to hopefully be the worst of it, and it should only get better. And it takes a lot for like PK and for AtGames to put this out there, because it could be looked at as a negative, but I appreciate them for putting that out there and letting us know that they're trying to improve, and they're making it a focus as a company that this is something that they have to work on, that they have to improve. So just a couple more things. We're going a little late tonight. We're already an hour and 43 minutes in and still got a couple of more home arcade subjects to discuss. So I came across this today, and I must have not been aware of this, or maybe I wasn't paying close enough attention, but I just came across this today, that these new countercades that are coming out by Arcade1Up are now USB powered. Did you guys know this? That you can power your countercade through a USB connection now? Because like my countercade that I have behind me here, I've only bought one Arcade1Up countercade so far, this Miss Pac-Man. It has to be plugged into the wall. And I know you can mod them. Like Detroit Love did an incredible mod with his countercade where he had put in like a portable battery in his and was able to make it portable where you could take it anywhere. Well, evidently Arcade1Up is now making these USB powered, and they're also advertising them as a user supplied battery is an option now. So you can literally get one of those like portable batteries that you plug your cell phone into and charge your phone, and you can now play a countercade off of it. So I think that is really cool, just stock right out of the box. We have that option of these are now actually portable. They're not something you have to have at home 100% of the time plugged into the wall. You could pretty much take them anywhere. And I thought that was cool. And I don't know how long this has happened for, or is this something that Arcade1Up just rolled out with this newest version of their countercade? But I think this is really great news. Something they should have done long ago, but they finally were able to make it happen. And it just kind of shows that Arcade1Up slowly but surely and quietly are doing some cool things. We're just not really aware of it because they don't share it with us, or they're not, really vocal in the community anymore. But, behind the scenes, it seems like they're making small little changes that we've asked for years. It's just kind of cool to see that and uncover that, not knowing that it was there. Papa Brad's Gaming says, you will never get one because you have an X Arcade. Talking about the AtGames to X Arcade, yeah, it is going to be difficult now that I own the X Arcade, and I'm going to have the haptic kit to go out to get another dedicated pinball device now. Because it really kind of fills that void, that use that I need of a pinball device with the X Arcade. AtGames has the most of their games on sale. If you have one, you cannot complain about them because of how high priced they are, because right now they're 70% off. So if you're looking for some deals on the AtGames device, they're doing up to 70% off. Finally getting some good prices. I don't think those are in the Zen tables, though. Those are only on the Zachariah, the Gottlieb, and their in-house games. With like Magic Pixel. I don't think you're getting the Zen tables for 70% off. Neo Hyper says, Kevin of Spreetel is absolutely listening. He has to work within a pricing team and the prices they set, but he is working on it. And that's another thing. I've got to give them credit. I feel like they handled and I'll mention it again, I feel like they handled the list price professionally and how they reacted to it, how they resolved it. They were blunt about it, and they put it out there. They were not scared to just let everyone know that they made a mistake, and they fixed it. So I hope to see that again next time we hear from Spreetel. Also, Neo Arcade says, I hadn't heard of that until now at Steps, but I'll ask about it. That doesn't seem typical. Radical Reggie getting a 50% restocking fee from Spreetel on Basic Fun Countercade is ridiculous. So let's see what this, when they look into it, when the Arcade Insiders, do the investigation into all this, they uncover the facts. Let's see what they have to say, right? There's always two sides to a story, right? We only hear one side right now. Let's at least give the other side a chance. Ray says, that sounds like a good sell. Stop Nudging Me says, yep, not on Zen, up to 70% off. That's only going to be on the others. So if you're shopping for Zen tables, I would play those OTG on your AtGames, get them on Steam, because you're going to be able to get some really good deals on Steam this week for your Zen games. All right, so just one more home arcade topic. No, that does it, guys. That wraps up home arcade for tonight. So the only other thing I wanted to share with you guys was my trip yesterday. Just kind of closing thoughts here. I went to almost Mexico. I went to the border pretty much to a city called Hereford, Arizona, which was 3.5 hours away. Really cool, though, to get down there. Let me show it to you here on the map if I can. Let's see here. So you guys can see where this is at on the map. So here it is, Hereford, and here's your border, your U.S.-Mexico border. So, I mean, you're just like right there, right? So I went to this park right here, and I went to this Coronado National Memorial, which is a national park here right on the border. And it was really cool. I had a really good time out there. There's a cave that I wanted. The main reason I went here is they have a cave that I wanted to see. I told you guys last week I'm going to get into caving, or what they call it, spelunking. I've actually reached out to a grotto here in Arizona, which I'm going to go meet up with early next month. And then if I get involved with them, they're going to start taking me to all these secret caves throughout the state that only they know about. And they're like, professionals. They know how to do the rope and the rappelling and all that stuff. And they're going to train you on all that. They're going to take you to places that they know are safe and see what you can do and what you can't handle, and just explore all these caves and stuff. I thought my goal with this trip yesterday was I've never been in an undeveloped cave before, but I have this huge interest in getting into it. So this was a undeveloped cave, but it wasn't super technical. There was some like bouldering and some rock climbing to get into it. And there were some small passages and areas you can go, but you didn't necessarily have to go into those areas, because really the main room is about 600 feet wide and about 70 feet, 600 feet long, 70 feet wide. And then you've got all these offshoots that you can go into if you're interested. So I wanted to go out there and kind of see how I could handle some of that and just kind of get my feel and get my feet wet on what I would be getting into with this. So let me share some of these photos. So this is me here. I wore a helmet. I had the headlamp on, all that going in. Has these really cool stalactites, I think, are what these are called, these formations in there, which were really cool. These are some of those holes you can go into, those really tight canal type holes you can go into, and these go for like 100, 200 feet, and you can climb into them. My buddy that I was with, I thought I could handle this no issue, and he was under the impression he was like very claustrophobic and he couldn't handle it at all. Well, he ended up taking it head on and like went through everything, no issues. For me, I went into some of this stuff, but I didn't go all the way through it because there was no reward. There was no like rooms or chambers that you were going to be able to get to by crawling through these. So I only went partially in and then turned around because I didn't see the incentive of crawling all the way to the end just to have to turn around and come back. So if one of these had led to another room or another area of the cave, then I would have crawled all the way through to the end. And you're like either on your hands and knees crawling, or you're having to army crawl through a lot of this stuff because of how tight it is. But pretty cool stuff, a lot of fun. And I don't think I'm going to get that claustrophobia that a lot of people fear with this. Here's one of the rooms where it's got kind of like a lower hanging ceiling. You kind of have to watch your head, but really open. You can walk through it. I didn't get a ton of photos because main reason was it's very dusty in there. And there was a large group of people that had just arrived before us, and they had left shortly after we got there. And they had kicked up a bunch of dust in this cave. And I didn't want to pull out my phone and have it get ruined in there. I was afraid of getting into the phone, like mic area or the charging port. So my friend, he's the one who took the risk, and he pulled his phone out and he took all the pictures and video and everything. And then his phone looked terrible by the time we got done. It was covered in dirt. And he had to clean all the ports out and stuff because it was saying it was detecting water and stuff. So I'm glad I didn't pull my phone out. So I got to give my buddy props for pulling his phone out because he got some photos for us. But here's like a mountain you can get to the top of. You can actually drive to most of it. It takes you to 7,500 feet. And then the last 300 feet, you have to hike to the top. But it's stairs to the top. So pretty easy, I would say. And you get this view. This is Mexico, what you're looking at here. And in the lower right-hand corner of this image, you can actually see the fence of the border, the wall in the lower right there. You're just so high up, you can't really see it in that image. Because I think that valley floor there is about 3,000, 4,000 feet. So you're pretty high up. And then here's the University of Arizona. They were doing the tailgating as we drove, because we had to drive through Tucson to get there. And I'd never been past the university, but it was cool to see them doing their pregame for the football game. And this is like when you're about to get into Hereford, and you can see the mountains there kind of poking out. Really cool looking. Here's a view here at the top of that mountain. Here's a really cool view of the valley. So those roads are the roads in that valley that you take in to get to the top. And that road in the middle there is also the road you do to get to the cave, which is kind of on the left side there, towards the base of that mountain on the left is where that cave is. And then here is the mountain peak above you. So when this is me on top of that 7,500 foot peak. And then if you look behind you I couldn't remember the name of this peak, but it's really tall. It's like 9,500 feet to the top of that mountain that I was looking at. So it's pretty high. And there was a little bit of snow at the top of that one. And there's my buddy there. I'm proud of him because he quit drinking and he's been eating really good over the last month. He had gained quite a bit of weight like a month ago when I saw him, but he's on the strict keto diet now. He doesn't drink any alcohol, and he's like buff now. Like he's like getting jacked, and he only eats protein, eggs, fruits, vegetables, like rooted vegetables. He doesn't eat any fast food. He doesn't eat any carbs, and he's killing it, man. And here's a valley in Arizona there. If you're like looking behind you towards Arizona, there's that peak again. They got a military box there at the top of that peak. Even though it's super easy to get to the top, you can sign the notebook in there. And then they've got a bunch about the wildlife there you can read and stuff, because it is a national park. So they give you the whole national park experience. And there's a good view. There was some rain coming in. It actually started pouring rain as we were driving home that night. But luckily the whole day it didn't rain at all. It was just partly cloudy off and on throughout the day. And it was super windy. So like where we're at here, like on the other side of that hill you're looking at, it blocked all the wind, so there was no wind. But on this side here, you were getting hit by that south wind from Mexico, and it was cold. It was really cold and windy up there. Oh, I saw a tarantula too. That's the first time I've seen a tarantula in Arizona. I knew they existed here, but I almost stepped on this one. And then there's the hole there, skylight of one end of the cave. So one end of the cave had a skylight, and then the other end had the entrance. And I would say the most technical part of the whole thing was getting into the cave, because you have to climb down some pretty big boulders to get into it. Like about 50 feet down to get into it. And that was probably the most technical part of the whole thing, which I can probably get you an image of that. Yeah, here's a good image of it, of the entrance, because I didn't get a picture of the entrance. So that was the hardest part right there. It was just climbing over that stuff. But yeah, it was fun. I think it was a great first experience, for me, never going into like an undeveloped cave or doing anything like that before. But I'm already really hooked. I already can tell I'm probably not going to be as good as my buddy at this, because he can get into a lot tighter spaces than I can. But I could still have a really good time with this sport. Where I'm going to go next weekend is a place called Pepper Sauce Cave, which is a cave a lot closer. This one took 3.5 hours to get to. This one we're going to go to next Saturday is only a 2-hour drive. It's in Tucson, and it's a big one too. It's got a huge map. It's got over 7 miles of passages you can explore. So it's huge. So I won't be able to obviously see all of it Saturday, but I'm gonna at least get into like these upper, like first rooms, and then we'll see. There's a big main lake at the back, at the very end. There's this huge lake, underground lake you got to see. But we'll see if I make it that far. But here's going in. Now they say get the first part of getting into the cave is like one of the hardest, because you got to slip through this little hole here to get into it. But pretty cool cave. And then like you don't have to use ropes here. So eventually I'm going to have to learn how to rappel and use ropes. But this cave has ladders, so you can avoid bringing any ropes for this one, which will be nice. It's super muddy in this one, so I'm going to probably have to bring a change of clothes, because they say it's super muddy. There's that underground lake at the end, and they say not to get into the water, but I've seen a lot of videos on YouTube and stuff of people swimming in the water and stuff. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be quite the experience for sure going out there. But I think I'm going to get hooked on this caving because there's just something cool about going underground and seeing all this. It's like an alien world underground, especially if you can get into some of these undeveloped caves where there's not a lot of human intervention. These caves can look like something out of a movie, like an alien world. Mike Hawkert says, unless Reggie urinated on the game, 50% seems like a steep price. I know. We need to get the other side. You know, why did they take so much of his money? We still don't know that yet. Mikey Yoon says, looks like Radical Reggie wrote a seller approved the return and informed me that the shipping costs would be deducted from the return. Ray says, sounds fun, talking about the caving. Papa Brad said they found Biggie D 2 weeks later stuck in a hole in a cave. This caving talk freaks me out. Yeah, I got to be careful and know my limits for sure. And that's part of the reason why I'll be joining this grotto is they teach responsible caving and, you know, how can you do this, you know, safely. Mikey says, I would never get into a cave. Worst way to die. Yes, you don't want to experience any issues like flooding. Luckily in Arizona, it's very dry here. So like in Tennessee, in Georgia, places like that, I would be really freaked out. I think getting in those caves because there's constantly water flowing into those. And at any point there could be a flood and you couldn't get out. Neo says, oh no, we're back to cave exploration horrors. Step says, you are insane, Biggie. I've been in a cave as a teen and it's like stay low to the ground and crawl in the dark. Devastator says, Biggie D becoming Batman and searching for the Bat Cave. Confirmed. And I'm 6'4", so yeah, I'm not gonna be the best at this, but I'm gonna definitely give it the best I can and enjoy as much as I can in what I can fit into. JJ says spelunking is dangerous. Seriously, go in wide open, eyes wide open. Got to be careful. I want to be around still. JJ saying I'm too damn tall for this. Nosapalooza says going with a buddy hiking partner is smart. Yes, so that's one thing is my buddy and I have decided we won't do this alone. A lot of hiking I will do alone, but caving you never. That's a no-no. You never go into a cave alone. And there's a lot of reasons why. One, you do not have a signal. It's extremely dangerous if you know it's undeveloped. Your lights can go out. You can't see anything. You're stuck. You know, you can't get out. You gotta have someone with you as like a backup if you get hurt or you can't find your way out. Also, you just may need a helping hand at any point, you know, and you have to have that person there. Thor saying, I'm still feeling traumatized from your cave problem last time. So, yeah, my only issue I ran into this week was I bought these knee pads for the crawling part. And my knee pads, I didn't put them on tight enough. And one of them slipped down and I thought it was still on my knee. So I kicked a corner of a rock real hard. So my kneecap is a little bruised and sore. But other than that, I'm fine. And I learned a lesson from that you got to make those knee pads super tight so they don't slide down your knee. But cool, guys. It's been a lot of fun. Over 2 hours tonight. We filled in 2 hours of home arcade talk, and we talked all the major subjects tonight. So good to have you guys hanging out with me. If you guys are watching the replay, definitely put a comment in the comment section. Let us know what you thought. Hit the like button. Let's get those likes up. We're always right around like that 20 mark. Would love to get the likes into like the 30s and 40s. Maybe get a few comments on the live streams. Really helps us as creators know that we're doing a good job. And it's always great to have new voices, new faces in the chat too. So you guys have a good Monday morning. Make it a great week. It's Thanksgiving week. I've got Thursday and Friday off, so expect some streaming. We're going to stream some pinball this week. Also, I'm going to get a Black Friday deal video done probably on Wednesday, right before the big deals hit. I think Wednesday is when we're going to get like the newspaper that has all the deals. So expect that video to drop midweek. And you guys definitely have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy your time with your friends and your family. Have a great meal. Enjoy your football. Go Cowboys. And I'll see everyone in the next one. Talk to y'all later. Bye-bye.